Hey everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're diving into a crossover world you never knew you needed. What happens when the sweet and slightly bossy Peppa Pig meets the chaotic legendary duo, Tom and Jerry? Let's find out! It was a bright, sunny morning in Peppa's world. The birds were singing, the sky was a perfect shade of blue, and Mummy Pig had just announced a family picnic. "Peppa, George," she said, "we're going for a picnic in the countryside." Peppa, always ready for an adventure, oinked with delight. "Can we invite my friends, Susie Sheep and Danny Dog?" she asked. "Of course, dear," Daddy Pig replied, already imagining a lovely afternoon nap under a big tree. But as Peppa was about to call her friends, she saw something peculiar near her little red car. Two figures, one a gray cat and the other a small brown mouse, were peeking out from behind a bush. They looked a little lost and very, very curious. Peppa, being the friendly pig she is, waddled right over. "Hello, I'm Peppa Pig. Who are you?" The cat Tom just blinked, a bit surprised. The mouse, Jerry, waved a tiny paw from behind Tom's ear. They weren't from around here, that was for sure. Peppa, never one to miss an opportunity for new friends, immediately decided they had to join the picnic. "Mummy! Daddy, I've made new friends. Can they come to the picnic too?" she squealed. Mummy and Daddy Pig, ever so welcoming, looked at the cat and mouse. "Well, the more the merrier," said Mummy Pig, "as long as they promise to behave." Tom gave a sharp, confident nod. Jerry just wiggled his whiskers, which probably meant yes. So the whole gang piled into the little red car. Peppa, George, Mummy Pig, Daddy Pig, and their two new, very unusual guests. Daddy Pig was a bit flustered trying to fit everyone in, but they managed. "Is everybody ready?" he asked. "Ready." They all cheered, except for Tom and Jerry, who were already eyeing the picnic basket with great interest. The journey was filled with Peppa's favorite song, the Bing Bong song, which Tom seemed to find a bit repetitive. Jerry, on the other hand, was bobbing his head to the beat from the safety of Peppa's pocket. They finally arrived at a beautiful spot on top of a hill. A big, shady tree, a lovely view, it was perfect. Mummy Pig spread out a large red and white checkered blanket. "Now, let's unpack the food," she announced. This was the moment Tom and Jerry had been waiting for. Out came sandwiches, apple juice, a big chocolate cake, and a huge wheel of cheese. Jerry's eyes nearly popped out of his head. Tom's stomach rumbled so loudly that George giggled. "Now remember," Mummy Pig said sternly, looking directly at Tom. "Everyone must share nicely." Peppa handed Tom a cucumber sandwich, which he sniffed suspiciously. She then tried to give a tiny piece of bread to Jerry, but Jerry had bigger plans. While everyone was distracted by Daddy Pig trying to open a tricky jar of jam, Jerry made his move. With a tiny rope he found in his pocket, and asked where he gets these things, he lassoed a giant strawberry from the top of the chocolate cake and zipped away with it. Tom saw this. His predator instincts kicked in. For a moment, he forgot he was a guest at a polite pig picnic. He lunged after Jerry, soaring over the sandwiches and skidding right through the potato salad. "Oh dear!" cried Mummy Pig as a blob of potato salad landed squarely on Daddy Pig's head. Daddy Pig, who had just managed to open the jam, was so startled he dropped the jar. It rolled across the blanket, leaving a sticky red trail right towards the chocolate cake. Peppa and George thought this was the funniest thing they had ever seen. They started jumping up and down in muddy puddles, or in this case, jammy puddles. Jammy puddles. They shouted, splashing sticky jam everywhere. Tom, still focused on Jerry, didn't notice the chaos he was causing. He chased Jerry around the picnic blanket, toppling the juice cartons and sending cookies flying through the air. Jerry, a master of evasion, used a large slice of cheese as a shield, deflecting a flying cookie right into Tom's face. Mummy Pig was trying her best to restore order. "Tom, Jerry, stop this instant!" But it was no use. Daddy Pig, now covered in potato salad and jam, decided the best course of action was to lie down. Perhaps a little nap will sort this out, he mumbled, closing his eyes amidst the mess. Meanwhile, Peppa and George were having the time of their lives. A food fight at a picnic? This was better than Susie Sheep's birthday party. They started flinging small pieces of sandwich at each other, oinking with laughter. Tom finally cornered Jerry near the chocolate cake. He pounced, but Jerry was too quick. He ducked under the cake stand, causing the whole thing to wobble. The magnificent multi-layered chocolate cake tilted precariously. Everyone froze. It swayed one way, then the other, in slow motion. And then, it toppled, landing right on top of a sleeping Daddy Pig. He woke with a jolt, completely covered in chocolate frosting. "Goodness gracious!" he sputtered, looking like a giant, muddy, chocolate-covered pig. For a moment, there was silence. Tom and Jerry stopped their chase. Peppa and George stopped their jam puddle jumping. They all looked at Daddy Pig, who was slowly licking some chocolate off his snout. Then, he started to laugh. A big, hearty, rumbling laugh. "Well," he chuckled, "I do love chocolate cake." That broke the tension. Soon, everyone was laughing. The picnic was a complete and utter mess. The blanket was stained, the food was scattered, and Daddy Pig was a walking dessert. But everyone was smiling. Even Tom and Jerry seemed to have called a truce, nibbling on a shared piece of cheese that had survived the chaos. Peppa looked around at her messy, happy family and her new, chaotic friends. "This is the best picnic ever," she declared, and everyone agreed. As the sun began to set, they packed up what was left of their disastrous picnic. Tom and Jerry helped, surprisingly. Tom carried the empty basket, and Jerry made sure no crumbs were left behind by eating them, of course. Back in the little red car, everyone was tired but happy. Daddy Pig was still a bit sticky, but he didn't mind. When they got back to Peppa's house, it was time to say goodbye. Peppa gave Tom a big hug, and George gave Jerry a tiny pat on the head. "Will you come back and play again?" Peppa asked. Tom nodded, and Jerry gave another enthusiastic whisker wiggle. As they waved goodbye, watching the cat and mouse duo scamper off into the sunset, Peppa knew she'd never forget her messy picnic with Tom and Jerry. It wasn't the quiet, tidy picnic Mummy Pig had planned, but it was an adventure. And for Peppa Pig, adventures are the best thing in the world.